The job cuts in the tech industry continue to pile up in 2023 after the industry had over 150,000 layoffs in 2022. Yahoo Finance's Brian Sazi and Julie Hyman have been boots on the ground all week in Davos, and I will say Parker's on as well. They've been in Switzerland at the World Economic Forum hearing from prominent CEOs. Guys, give us the scoop on what they're saying.
Yeah, Brad, it has been layoff central here, and while the World Economic Forum has kicked off, we got news of those 10,000 strong Microsoft layoffs here, in addition to everything we heard from Salesforce and many other tech companies. And Julie, we've been putting this to every single tech executive that has come on Yahoo Finance at the World Economic Forum. Are you laying people off? Some aren't. You look at HPE CEO Antonio Neri, he says, we're not laying people off because we thought about this stuff happening 2 years ago. But again, that's the exception, not the norm.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it is a wholesale across the board. We're going to see a lot of cuts in the industry necessarily at every company, and even within companies, it's not going to be in every part of the company. So here's a sampling of what we heard from those executives.
Anything that has people implications are probably the hardest decisions we have to make as executives, but at the same time, they are the right thing to do for the success of the company.
I think it's pretty difficult to say. I think the next couple of quarters are really going to tell us what's really going to happen in the economy.
We will continue to reallocate resources. In fact, we continue to hire in some areas where we need the talent.
So while we are not in a position to have to do layoffs, we certainly have, slowed down hiring a bit during the back half of the year.
I think when we see a lot of peer companies laying people off, when we see people in the tech industry really struggling, the idea of throwing in flying in a big performer, spending a ton of money on a lavish party didn't make a bunch of sense.
That last one, by the way, was Matthew Prince, the Cloudflare CEO, and he was speaking not too subtly about some of his competitors here. Microsoft held a big party. They invited Sting to play. And then there is a Salesforce party this evening with an as-yet-to-be-announced guest. It'll be a surprise musical guest at that one. So that costs a pretty penny.
Yes, indeed does. At the time they're trying to cut lots of pennies by laying off these workers. But I was just moderating a panel for the World Economic Forum. Qualcomm was on there. HPE's COO was on there as well. We're seeing news of lots of layoffs, yes, but there's this next generation of technology forming. We've been talking about it all week, notably in artificial intelligence. There's still a lot of hiring going on in tech. It just may not be in the areas that we're being hired for during the pandemic.
Exactly. That's exactly what we are hearing from people, Brad and Jared.
Guys, we got to talk about Elon Musk because he has been heading over to Twitter, which he owns now, asking about Davos, tweeting a poll. The World Economic Forum should control the world, yes or no? Majority of respondents said no. And Julie, I know you've been tweeting about this or something related yourself.
I mean, what are they gonna say? It's the dumbest poll ever. I think Elon's just upset he's not here and he wants the attention back on him rather than on the goings on here. I mean, yes, there is concern, right, that you have executives, world leaders here sort of setting agendas. I don't know, Saz, what's your feeling on this whole
I'm going to decode
narrative?
this poll from Elon in real time, Julian, and it's something like this. Put a tweet out there critiquing the most important conference kickoff 2023, and maybe you'll get more promotion out there on Twitter and Facebook and other platforms, and you might sell more Teslas because you just probably missed your fourth quarter and because the company's still under a lot of pressure. That is what I'm thinking. And
Interesting.
Then secondarily, let's keep in mind, Elon's not even been invited to this event since 2015. The World Economic Forum came out early in the week amidst that just criticism from Musk on Twitter. It said, Elon hasn't even got an invite, so you can't come to this if you don't even have an invite. So I don't know what Elon is thinking about here. Let him go sell some Teslas. Let him go play around on Twitter. Maybe he'll be here 10 years from now.
I mean, I will say, of course, there are a lot of critics around the globe who talk about the World Economic Forum that being out of touch. They haven't been aggressive enough on climate change. Certainly, Greta Thunberg has been someone who has talked about that, and she's here once again making that point, which is a valid one. At the same time, I think it also misses the point of why so many executives and world leaders continue to come here. We talked to the Chainalysis CEO, Michael Groniger, a little bit earlier. He said this is 3 months of travel in 4 days. It is just a very distilled, efficient way to meet with a lot of people in a very short amount of time.
I'll add this too. We've interviewed close to, I'll upsell, let's say 40 executives. We have a lot of conversations. We've been out pounding the pavement all week. Elon Musk, at least for me, has not come up one single time. So the man who tries to make himself the most relevant person in the world, these people here could really care less. They're focused on growing their business, getting new business into their business, and thinking about the next decade for their own businesses. Elon Musk, for them, Elon Musk who?
And so within those conversations, I want to piggyback off of what you just said at the end there, Sazi, and trying to get new business while they're out there. Does this signal to you that in some of the posturing and in some of the commentary that you're hearing from whether it's ServiceNow CEO or whether it's some of the HP CEOs of the world, that they're trying to signal to their prospective clients that, hey, with our business, everything is fine. Yeah, there might be a shallow or a mild recession to come, but for our business, we believe that we can operate through this so that their clients, prospective clients, then feel confident.
Right, Brad. They're focused on not only setting up business for this quarter or the next quarter, but it is for the next decade, and also to get a lot of ideas on how they should ultimately position their business. And I go back to what Elon, his just critique of this event this week. Nobody's talking about him. Nobody cares. And a lot of these executives aren't even on Twitter. And if they are, guys, they have social media accounts and other people running these Twitter accounts. Elon Musk what I'm trying to say is just does not dominate their lives.
Yeah, no. So to come back to your point there, Brad, yes, certainly that is something that is a factor here, that they want to project strength in a time of economic weakness. I also want to make the point that sort of the takeaway on the economic front for us has been that people are cautiously optimistic, or at least not too pessimistic about what's going to happen with the economy and specifically what's going to happen with their businesses. However, the consensus coming out of Davos is frequently wrong. So that's something to point out, right? That in terms of trying to call where the economy is going and listening to the consensus, the conventional wisdom here, that's not always guided you in the right direction.
No, Julie, that's so on the mark. I was here in May for the faux World Economic Forum during summertime, and we broadcast all week. And I left thinking, wow, GDP is going to grow at 10%. We're in a boom, and that has not happened. Stocks came under pressure, and recession talk absolutely dominated the scene. So I'm leaving this event thinking maybe things will be better than many people expect. But again, who knows?